What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. It's Friday. I've been trying to put out a video every week. It's kind of my goal for this. Not sure why, just for something to do. And today I get asked a lot about different handle materials and finishing different handle materials and how I go about it. So I thought kind of what I would do today. I don't keep a ton of handle material in stock all the time because I pretty much do custom orders for everything. So when somebody orders a knife, they'll say they want whatever handle, I'll get it ordered and go from there. But I do have a whole drawer full from just, I don't know, I just build up a little bit of a stockpile. But and I'm gonna go through a couple of the common handle materials I use and maybe the ups, the downs, and how I finish them, okay? We're gonna start with pretty much what everybody knows and uses, and that's G10. So for example, here is some bright orange G10, okay? And I buy them in these 2x6 inch scales. Normally you can buy them in bigger sheets as well. And this is, I believe, 1/4 inch. A lot of what I buy is 1/4 inch or 3/8, right around there. As far as G10 goes, this stuff is really, really, really good. I love working with G10. It's pretty much my favorite stuff to work with. It's a little bit stinky and dusty, but it finishes really easy, which is nice. I'll probably try to, well, I don't have anything here that's finished with G10, but you can take this to like 400 grit by hand and it looks really good. It gives this really good matte finish. You can also take it up to like 2000 and it gets a really good high polish finish. It's just really good stuff. And like all my handles, when I do them, I normally take them to like 120 grit on the grinder and then take them to hand sanding after that. That's just how I do it. You can do it however you want it, but that's how I do it. So as far as G10 goes, it's super durable. It's easy to finish. That would be the pros of it. The cons are, it's kind of boring. You know what I mean? It's definitely more for a user knife, is what I would say. It's for a knife that's going to get used and abused, and it's going to hold up really, really, really well. There's also a lot of different color variations to this stuff. Like this is black and blue layered. Can't really see the layers in the video, but it gives you a cool contrast from blue and black. As far as sourcing this stuff, you can get it anywhere. Just search for it online. You can find G10 from everybody. I get a lot of mine from Atlas Billiard Supply and Makers Material, something like that is what it's called. Knife Kits as well sells a lot of stuff like this. G10, a lot of good handle materials. So G10 is one of my favorites. I love working with it. The next one that I do a lot of is Micarta, okay? And there's tons of different Micartas. And this stuff here is OD green Micarta. And there's like fabric and there's different kinds. This right here is fire hose Micarta. It's actually made from old fire hoses that have then been pressed, super high pressed, and kind of impregnated with resin to make them hard and durable. When you're buying Micarta, I've used a lot of different kinds and they all finish different. So it'll kind of go by, your experience and buying the right stuff. So if you buy regular, just OD green Micarta, if you got it on eBay or wherever you get it, it finishes really easy. It's really hard. You can take it to like 400 grit, do a nice like matte 400 grit finish, and it looks awesome. I mean, I love Micarta. Has a really good grip to it, good final feel to it, and it's a lot like G10 as far as it's super durable, and I would highly recommend it for any knife that you're gonna really use. And there's a lot of different Micartas that are really cool looking as well. That fire hose is really cool, and the one I use a lot is from G-carta, okay? This is a different kind of Micarta that's super stylish. I mean, that stuff is just cool. They have all different kinds of patterns and stuff like that. Make sure you check out his website. I buy a lot of stuff from him and he does a good job. This is another pattern, okay? And I actually have a whole video up on finishing that stuff because it finishes a lot different than other micartas. I don't know what his process is to making it, but it's definitely a lot softer material. It fuzzes up a lot when you go to finish it. Like maybe it doesn't get impregnated quite as good as some of these like big factories that probably make it with a super like really powerful press is my guess. I don't know how to make it, I'm just guessing. So that stuff, as far as finishing it goes, go look back on my video and see how I finish it. I normally take it to 1200 grit. You can take it up to 2000, but it's super time consuming. Every step you're constantly fighting it kind of to get it to that final finish. But when it's finished, it looks incredible. So that's something that, you know, weigh it. If you want it to look really cool and have micarta, man, that's a good combo to go with. As far as, oh, there's also like just kind of like this Juma, okay, which if you guys follow me, you know I use a lot of Juma. I think that's what it's called, Juma. I don't know what it's called, but it doesn't look very good right here. It's not finished, but there's like a snake skin pattern on it. It's super nice. And this is just like, I'm not 100% sure what it is, but it handles a lot just like a resin, just like a resin material. It's a little softer. It finishes really, really nice. It sands easy, it machines easy. I get mine, this comes from Atlas Material as well. They have all the different colors and it's just awesome. The downside of it is when you finish sand it up to, like I normally take mine to 2000, it's a little slippery. Like it doesn't have much texture to it like micarta does. So take that into consideration. I like it. I like it a lot. I use it on fillet knives and everything, and it performs fine. I've even used it to make sure that when you're filleting a fish, it doesn't get too slippery, and it works great. I mean, it's super minute details to where if you want that little texture, go with micarta. It keeps this little, it's hard to explain, but it keeps a nice little texture to it when finished sanded. That Juma, you have to bring it up to a higher grit, and it might be a little slippery, so take that into consideration. The other one, this stuff here, I don't use it super often. It's just a complete resin material, okay? It's super hard, like, and chippy. Like you can see the edges of it right there. See how it's kind of chippy looking? And that's how it finishes. It's hard, it's a little tricky to finish, and that's just like an acrylic resin handle. I'm sure you've seen them. They look beautiful when they're finished up to about 2000 grit. But like Juma, it's a little slippery, and this stuff's also a little bit fragile because it's so hard. I mean, it's just, man, is it hard and chippy. So take that into consideration. If you drop this on your knife, it's probably gonna chip. Micarta, G10, that stuff won't chip at all. So as far as kind of that goes, I think I covered that. I use a lot of wood as well. Ironwood is my favorite. I use a lot of ancient bog oak too. And the one thing when you're using burls and any kind of wood is make sure it's stabilized. If it's not, buy yourself the setup to be able to stabilize it. I might do a video on that at some point. I don't do a lot of it in-house anymore, but I bought the vacuum and the chamber to be able to stabilize all my own wood. As far as my process goes, it makes more sense to outsource it and buy it already finished, already stabilized. So I do a lot of ironwood, I'm sure, as you guys have seen. This stuff here, ironwood is great. It's really hard, really dense wood. It finishes really nice. And I normally take my ironwood up to about 800 or 1200, depending on how it's looking. But it goes fast. Like that's something you'll kind of realize, like if you're working with G-carta, the sanding process takes forever. If you're working with G10 or wood, ironwood like that, the sanding just goes a little faster by hand. And this is all going off of hand sanding. If you guys are just machine finishing them, that's a whole different ball game. I'm just hand sanding all these, so I wanted to kind of touch on it. Here's some ancient bog oak. It's kind of stuck on here. But this is that really nice, they say it's like 4,000-year-old bog oak. Super cool stuff. Just finishes a lot like ironwood. Real simple and easy to use. This is some different burl wood. It's all the same, okay? All these different burl woods finish. I take them to about 800 grit. I always buff them when they're done. That's what's nice about when you're working with stabilized woods. You can buff them when you're all done with them. You don't have to oil them, and they're gonna, the shrinkage is gonna be minimal when they're stabilized. Let's see what else I have in here. I think that kind of touches on everything. I have a lot. These are really nice, man. I think that's elm burl. Gosh, I have some really nice stuff in here. But like I said, a lot of stuff, I just get it custom ordered and get it per knife. That's another kind of really nice acrylic material. So I guess what I wanted to get out of this video for you guys is just understanding the different materials. There's some more Juma purple. Whoo, that is sweet. And kind of if you had a customer that said, hey, I want a hunting knife that's going to be a hard use, I'm going to really beat on it, and then you can recommend, well, let's go with G10 or Micarta because you know it's going to last and hold up. And you know, all of these materials are nice. I don't use any material that's going to just fall apart and break. I'm just saying, if somebody says, I want to beat on a knife, I'm going to say, let's put Micarta on it. I want a show knife, then let's put a really fancy burl wood or some multi-piece burl wood like these, like this set on there, okay? And that, they're still built really good. They're all stabilized, but, you know, if you dropped it, you might chip it. If you really beat on it, you know, there's always things that can happen. So hard use, go with G10, Micarta, and I kind of explained the finishing process on it. Finishes really nice. And I've used about everything. Carbon fiber, I don't keep any of it in stock. Hopefully you guys saw the video that I did on that. I still have a little piece of it here that was left of that stabilized mammoth molar. That stuff is a whole different ball game as far as finishing and stuff, but yeah, I think that covers everything, guys. I'm honestly kind of avoiding the hand sanding process on this big Damasteel chef knife. I've got the flat started right there. That's just test etch. It's going to be beautiful, but I wanted to get a video out. Like I said, I'm trying to get a video out every week. Today's Friday. I just worked my butt off this week. I got a bunch of Trekker tees glued up. I got 10 of these glued up, and you can see they're still ready to be finished sanded. Waiting on a couple of them to dry. I'll probably get those finished up this weekend is my game plan. But like always, if you guys have any ideas for future videos, let me know, drop them in the comments. And if you have any tips or anything for me as well, I always like hearing it and I like talking with you guys, and that's why I put these videos out. So that being said, I'm going to get to hand sanding this knife. It's going to take forever. If you've ever worked with Damasteel, you know a hand sanding process on it is just a nightmare. But it looks sweet when it's done, so it's kind of all part of the deal. So hope you guys have a good weekend. I'll probably get this video up tonight, so have a good weekend, and thanks for watching like always.